At that, all the Brahmins and all the Naga kings said to the Blessed One, "We no longer delight in experiencing painful feelings in cyclic existence." The heretical practitioners of other traditions, wandering mendicants, and naked ascetics said, "Nevertheless, among the young sentient beings, there are none who are able to realize emptiness directly." They said this, and the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, please look at this. Why is it so difficult for sentient beings to be motivated?" The Blessed One said, "Vaishayasena, please listen. The Tathagata directly comprehends the entire world. At that, 94,000 million young beings were present before the Blessed One. They did not prostrate to the Blessed One, nor did they say a word. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, these sentient beings do not speak to the Blessed One. They are utterly silent and do not prostrate either. What is the reason that they do not ask any questions of the Blessed One? What is the condition?" The Blessed One said, "Vaishayasena, listen. You should see that these sentient beings who say, 'The young sentient beings are not able to realize emptiness directly,' are young sentient beings." And those sentient beings said, "Venerable Blessed One, we are young sentient beings. Venerable Sugata, we are young sentient beings." The Blessed One said, "These sentient beings comprehend the world directly, but now display the measure of the world from your own bodies." At that time, at that moment, the 94,000 million young beings, without leaving their bodies, hovered in the middle of space and attained the 10 grounds. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, "Such sentient beings who make an effort to completely exhaust and completely purify cyclic existence have well achieved their achievement. Blessed One, these sentient beings were born on this very day, and, Blessed One, on this very day, these sentient beings were thoroughly liberated, and they were all seen to attain the 10 grounds." At that, the Brahmins and heretical practitioners of other traditions, wandering mendicants, naked ascetics, Naga kings, and the wicked Mara and his retinue all arrived for the purpose of deceiving, and said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, we have come here before the Tathagata, and now that we have heard this Dharma Paryaya, may we attain the sort of happiness of a Buddha. May we become just that sort of Tathagata, Arhat, perfect and complete Buddha in the world." The Blessed One said, "Just so, gentlemen. Regardless of how you have come to the Tathagata, since you have heard this Sankhata Dharma Paryaya, you have generated the mind of the unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. That being so, before long, you will all be fully and completely enlightened in the unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. As soon As the Blessed One had spoken these words, all those heretical practitioners of other traditions immediately attained the state of forbearance with respect to unproduced phenomena. They also all became bodhisattvas established on the 10 grounds, and thereupon all those bodhisattvas rose up into the air to a height of 7 palmyra trees, and offered to the Tathagata towering palaces made of the 7 precious substances. They also all sustained various miraculous emanations and performed acts displaying supernatural powers. Then, abiding above the crown of the head of the Blessed One, they scattered bits of flowers on the Tathagata, and they all contemplated the Tathagata too. They also perceived their own bodies as Buddhas. Many hundreds of thousands of millions of Deva sons also scattered flowers on the Tathagata and spoke these words. The ascetic Gautama is a great gain. He is a great field. He is a protector of the world. He has reached the attainment of meditative stabilization. He is a master whose aim is to produce other masters. Through skillful means, gradually he completely releases sentient beings such as these from cyclic existence. With even just one well-spoken phrase, he completely frees so many sentient beings from cyclic existence. At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, arose from his seat, placed his upper robe over one shoulder, set his right knee on the ground, and bowed with his palms together toward the Blessed One. He said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, due to what cause and what condition do these children of the lineage issue forth these words, perform many acts displaying supernatural powers, and compose many praises of the Tathagata? The Blessed One said, Child of the lineage, listen. They are not praising me. Rather, they are praising their own bodies, and they will establish their own bodies as a holy seat of Dharma. They will emit light rays of Dharma from their bodies. All the Buddhas will support them too, in order to awaken them fully and completely in the unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. And when they have become fully and completely enlightened, they will teach the Dharma. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said this to the Blessed One. The Tathagata, the Sugata, completely frees many sentient beings day and night. Yet sentient beings still have not been depleted. The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, it is good, very good, that you have thought to question the Tathagata on this point. Vaishayasena, it is as follows. To make an analogy, there is some rich person with great wealth and property, possessing much wealth, grain, treasuries, and granaries, and having many dependents, including male servants, female servants, and laborers. In addition to a large mass of wealth, he is in possession of many fields and gardens, such as those that have barley, wheat, rice, beans, lentils, and many other grains. After that person planted the seeds of all the grain in the springtime, at another season all those seeds would ripen fully. That man would place the various types of grain separately, and having stored them there, he would eat them through to springtime. And then again he would plant. In the same way, by Shayasena, sentient beings will also thoroughly deplete all the karma from previous actions. And then they will seek out fields of merit and produce roots of virtue. Having produced them, they will earnestly practice virtuous Dharma. And having made all the Dharmas increase, they will produce joy and contentment. By Shayasena, because of that joyful and contented mind, they will not go to waste for many thousands of millions of eons. By Shayasena, in the same way, a bodhisattva who has produced the initial thought of enlightenment will never be subject to waste. In short, they will realize all dharmas. He said, Blessed One, what sort of dreams will be seen by bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment? The Blessed One said, By Shayasena, bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment will see many fearful things in their dreams. If you should wonder why that is so, it is because they are purifying all their karma. Sentient beings with bad karma cannot eliminate their unbearable suffering. But the former, although seeing a bad dream, is not afraid. He said, Blessed One, in what way will fearful things be seen in the dreams of bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment? The Blessed One said, By Shayasena, a fire will be seen blazing. At that, the bodhisattvas should know that all their delusions have been burnt. Secondly, by Shayasena, although bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment see water stirred up and greatly churning, they will not be afraid. If you should wonder why that is, by Shayasena, in this way, all the bondage due to ignorance is cast aside, and what is bad is purified. Thirdly, by Shayasena, bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment will see greatly fearful things in their dreams. He asked, Blessed One, what are they? The Blessed One said, Although they see their head shaven, by Shayasena, they would not become frightened by that. If you should wonder why that is, they would think, My attachment, anger, and ignorance have been shaved off. I am victorious over cyclic existence with its 6 realms. Their place is not in the hell beings' realms either. It is not among animals or pretas. It is not among the asuras. It is not among the nagas. It is not among the devas. By Shayasena, bodhisattvas who have produced the initial thought of enlightenment attain birth in the perfectly pure Buddha fields. By Shayasena, in the future, at a time to come, if any sentient being dedicates their mind to enlightenment, on account of that, they should be seen as having great commitment. By Shayasena, although they encounter contempt, they should not be disheartened, nor should they be discouraged. By Shayasena, many are the dharmas I have taught. By Shayasena, for some hundreds of thousands of myriad millions of eons, I engaged in arduous activities. But that engagement in arduous activities was not for the sake of wealth. It was not in order to enjoy a livelihood. It was not in order to enjoy power. By Shayasena, I engaged in arduous activities in order to comprehend the nature of phenomena. But until the moment that I heard this Sanghata Dharma Pariyaya, I did not attain unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. But by Shayasena, on the very day I heard it, I was entirely, completely enlightened into unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. By Shayasena, this Dharma Pariyaya is profound. Hearing this Dharma Pariyaya is rare. By Shayasena, the arising of Tathagatas is also supremely rare. By Shayasena, those who uphold this Dharma Pariyaya are also supremely rare. All those who hear this Dharma Pariyaya will be fully and completely enlightened in the unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. By Shayasena, for 1,000 eons, they will overcome cyclic existence. They will attain the perfectly pure Buddha field. They will also thoroughly understand cessation and the path. They will be well suited to thoroughly know the source. They will be well suited to thoroughly know the place of virtue. They will be well suited to directly know and thoroughly know the place of virtue. They will be well suited to thoroughly know the place of virtue and to thoroughly know cessation. By Shayasena, why is it called cessation? He said, Blessed One, the meaning is that it is a place of Dharma. The Blessed One said, By Shayasena, what is a place of Dharma? He said, Blessed One, what is called Dharma is the engagement in enthusiastic perseverance, the guarding of ethics and possessing ethics. It is called a treasury of Dharma. Blessed One, this is the arising of a Dharma treasury. The Blessed One said, by Shayasena, that you thought to pose a question to the Tathagata on this topic is good, very good. He said, for what purpose do Tathagatas arise in the world? The Blessed One said, by Shayasena, those who are possessed of much learning and highly knowledgeable know the arising of Tathagatas. Once they know of the arising of Tathagatas, they know the arising of Tathagatas to be a source of happiness. At the time when Tathagatas arise in the world, sentient beings know all dharmas. Through skillful means, they know the dharmas. They know mundane and supramundane phenomena. They know the mundane and supramundane wisdom. He said, having realized wisdom itself, what nirvana do they seek out? The Blessed One said, by Shayasena, once they have thoroughly understood the Dharma, they thoroughly know the Dharma. By Shayasena, similarly, once they have thoroughly known the holy Dharma in a condensed form, the first attainment arises. Keeping in mind the Dharma just as they have heard it, they will attain the possession of Dharma. By Shayasena, it is as follows, to make an analogy. A man became a traitor, took 1,000-man load of gold, and set off seeking profit. His parents say to him, son, listen, take this 1,000-coin load of gold. Carry well this gold of ours and of others. That traitor carried away the gold, and by the time a month had passed, he had squandered all that gold. After it was gone, the man reflected and became extremely unhappy. He was pierced with great agonizing pains in his heart. He was filled with remorse and shame, and did not go to his own home. His parents heard of this and fell into despair. Their hearts were pierced with great agonizing pains, and even their clothes were torn. This bad son was born into our household in the form of a son, and also destroyed our household's entire capacity to sustain itself. He has been useless to us, and we have been made to suffer. He has forced us into work as servants. Speaking thus, they lament. After his parents had fallen into despair, they died. Then, hearing that his parents had despaired of him and died, the son also fell into despair and died. In just the same way, by Shayasena, although the Tathagata explains these matters, those who have no faith in my teachings will lose hope, and at their time of death, they will die with their hearts pierced with great agonizing pains. Just as those parents fell into despair and suffered because of the gold, and had their hearts pierced with great agonizing pains because of their own and others' gold, in the same way too, by Shayasena, those who have no faith in my teachings, afterwards, at their time of death, are tormented and cry out in lamentation. They experience painful feelings, and after they have wasted the merits they previously created, they do not later create the merit that is associated with a good field. Because they have great agonizing pains piercing their hearts, at that time, at that moment, once they have seen the ceaseless, cruel places of rebirth in hell and as animals, and the realm of rebirth in the world of Yama, at their time of death they will think thus, Who will be my protector so that I will not see the worlds of hell beings, animals, pretas, and yama, and so that I will not experience those painful feelings that one's parents will say, "Child, the greatly terrifying thing that is illness cannot come about. How could that be? Although those who are dying fear sickness, in your case, son, there's no death. From the fear and terror of disease, you will be set free." My consciousness is ceasing. My body too is badly damaged. All my limbs are in pain. I am coming to see my death. My eyes do not see, and my ears do not hear, nor will anything reach my nose. My body has no endurance. My body is pained from limb to limb. Just like a tree, I am mindless, saying my death is not nearing. Mother, please just cheer me up. The mother said, "Son, it is not right that you say that. Do not frighten me so badly. Since your body is racked with a plague, you will see all sorts of things." The son said, "But I see no plague in my body. I have no sickness and no pain. I see extremely unbearable death. My beloved body will be destroyed. Since I have seen my whole body overpowered by suffering, to whom will I go for refuge? Who will be my protector?" The parents said, "Son, a deva must be punishing you, but if offerings are made to the devas, after that you will recover." The son said, "Whatever will make me recover, I ask you please to do just that. Please go quickly and make haste and make inquiries to the priest." At that, his parents went before the altar of the deva and gave incense for the deva. Then the priest offered the incense to the deva and said the following: "The deva is punishing you. Therefore, you must honor the deva, sacrifice to the deva, kill livestock, kill a man too, and then your son will be released from his illness." At that, those parents thought, "But we are poor. What can we do? If we don't appease the deva, our son will die. If we are to appease him, since we're poor, from where will we get a person and livestock?" With these thoughts, they made haste and quickly went home. They took the few household items of any substance that they possessed to sell in order to buy livestock. After that, they approached another man. "Sir, if you could give us some gold on loan and were able to pay it back in 10 days, that would be good. But if we are unable to pay it, we agree now to become your servants and do work." They said this, and then the two of them carried off that gold and went to buy a man. The two of them bought a man, but that man did not know that he would be killed. At that, the parents became confused and did not return to their home. Instead, they went before the altar and said to the priest, "Quick, make the sacrificial offering." Then the two parents killed the livestock themselves, and they also killed the man. Then the priest, intending to make the sacrificial offering, kindled a fire, and at that the deva descended and said, "I have accepted your son." Then the parents overflowed with joy and elation. "If our son is cured, even if we become servants, that is far superior," they said. After making the sacrifice to the Deva, they returned home, and when they arrived there, they saw that their son had died. At that, the two parents, suffering and in deep despair, were pierced through their hearts with great agonizing pains. With their hopes dashed, they died right there, and in just the same way, Vaishayasena, one should not associate with non-virtuous friends. He said, Blessed One, may I ask where those sentient beings were born? The Blessed One said, Be quiet, Vaishayasena. Do not ask. He said, Blessed One, I ask. Sugata, I ask. The Blessed One said, On that occasion, Vaishayasena, the mother was born in the great hell called the Hell of Lamentation. The father was born in the great hell called Crushing Hell. The son was born in the great hell called Hot Hell. The priest was born in the great hell of Avicii. He said, Blessed One, where was that innocent man reborn? What was his future life? The Blessed One said, Here, Vaishayasena, that blameless man was reborn among the Devas of the heaven of 33. He said, Blessed One, what was the reason and what was the condition for that man to be born equal in fortune to the Devas of the heaven of 33? The Blessed One said, Listen, Vaishayasena. That man, at his time of death, with a mind of faith in the Tathagata, said one time, I prostrate to the Buddha. Vaishayasena, due to that root of virtue, he will experience the happiness of the Devas of the 33 for 60 eons. For 80 eons, he will recollect past lives. Life after life, he will be free of all painful sorrows. As soon as he is born, he will ward off all sufferings. Those sentient beings are all unable to fully overcome sorrow. He said, Blessed One, how will all sentient beings be capable of fully overcoming sorrow? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, they must exert effort. He said, Blessed One, which exertion of effort? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, listen. What is called effort is the demonstration of results. It is as follows. What is called the result of stream entry is a place of effort. What is called the result of one's returning is a place of effort. What is called the result of non-returning is a place of effort. What is called the result of arhatship and the cessation that is the result of an arhat is a place of effort. What is called the result of a Pratyeka Buddha and the knowledge of the result of a Pratyeka Buddha is a place of effort. What is called the result of a Bodhisattva and the place of enlightenment is a place of effort. Vaishayasena, these are what are called places of effort. He said, Blessed One, how are a stream enterer and the result of stream entry to be shown?" The Blessed One said, "It is as follows, to make an analogy. One man planted a tree, and on that very day the tree took root, and on that very same day those roots went down a yojana. Another man, too, planted a tree in the same way. But on that very day it was shaken by the wind, and that tree did not take root. Then this man removed the tree from that place, and also the other man said, 'Why did you dig up my earth?' And they quarreled and disputed. After that, at that time, the king heard that those two men were quarreling and disputing. And he sent a messenger saying, 'Go and bring those two men.' 'As you command, your majesty,' he said, and raced off in great haste. He said to the two men, 'The king summons you.' At that, one of the men became frightened and apprehensive, but the other man, without fear or apprehension, was led to where the king was. After they had been led there, they were seated in the presence of the king. Then the king said to the two men, 'Sirs, why were you quarreling and disputing?' At that the two men arose and addressed the king. 'Great king, please lend us your ear. Since we do not own any land at all, a tree was planted on a plot of borrowed land. After that, because it was shaken by the wind, it did not put down roots, and neither leaves nor flowers nor fruit appeared. Great king, its roots did not go down a yojana. And this man fought and disputed with me, saying, 'It's your fault.' Nevertheless, since I am innocent, your majesty, please kindly understand that I am not even slightly guilty." Then that king sent for his 30 million ministers, and when they had assembled, he commanded, "You should speak." The ministers said, "What should we speak about?" Have you ever seen or heard that on the very day a tree was planted, it put down roots and leaves, flowers, and fruit appeared? In a week or half a month, make a determination of this case. At that, those ministers arose from their seats and addressed the king. "Great king, it is not appropriate for us to make a determination in this case. We are incapable of determining it. Great king, this is wondrous. For now this man himself should be spoken to. Sir, is what was said true? Speak." He said, "Great king, indeed it is true." The king said, "On the very day a tree was planted, roots went down, and leaves, flowers, and fruit appeared. On that very day you say, these words of yours are hard to believe. No such thing has been seen or heard." At that, the man placed palms together and spoke these words before the king. "Kindly go and plant a tree yourself. Please watch as the roots take hold." Then the king and the 30 million ministers went out together, and the two men were placed in prison. Then the king himself planted a tree, and that tree neither took root nor did leaves, flowers, or fruit appear. So the king became enraged and said, "You, go quickly, come back with axes for felling trees." They were fetched, and, enraged at the tree planted by that man, He cut the leaves, flowers, and fruit that had arisen on that tree. As soon as he cut that single tree, 12 trees appeared. He cut the 12 trees, and there appeared 24 trees made of the 7 precious substances, together with roots, leaves, and shoots. Then, from those 24 trees, there appeared 24 birds with golden crests and golden beaks and feathers made of the 7 precious substances. At that, the king was overcome with rage and, taking the axe in his own hand, chopped at a tree. From the tree that he had chopped, nectar appeared. The king was troubled by that and issued instructions. Go and remove those 2 men from prison. As you command, your majesty. He raced off that very instant. The 2 men were removed from the prison and led to where the trees were. The king said, Did you plant the tree that multiplied when it was cut and became 24? The tree I planted did not grow roots or leaves or flowers or fruit. Then that man said, Great king, you are not endowed with the sort of merit I have. At that, the 30 million ministers knelt, placing both knees on the ground, and said to the man, This previous king is not fit, therefore you should be king. Then that man addressed the ministers in verse. A king's enjoyment is of no use to me, nor have I need of wealth or grain, since in the Buddhas I have faith. Among humans may I become supreme. May I go where the Tathagata is, to the sphere of nirvana, which is peace, the Dharma that leads home to nirvana, that should be explained to you. Sitting himself cross-legged, he then made this avowal. Due to actions I did in the past, I came to be in the king's jail, but by uttering this prayer, may my karma be depleted. At that, 24 million birds with diamond beaks struck cymbals. Then, at that time, at that moment, 32,000 towering palaces appeared. Each of the towering palaces measured 25 yojanas, and from each towering palace there emerged 25 million birds with golden crests and golden beaks and golden faces. They uttered human speech. When you, O king, cut that tree, the deed that you did was not good. In place of 100 million trees, there came to be just 24. You did not know what sort of being is the one who planted this tree. Due to this wicked act, you will later undergo unpleasant results. The king said, I do not know the meaning of this, thus, great ascetic, please explain. The birds said, It is he who illuminates the world and will become its guide. From the prison that is samsara, he liberates all beings. The king said, The person whose tree did not grow, that second person, who was he? What wicked action did he do? Twice born birds, let it be told. The birds said, The person whose tree did not grow, that was the foolish Devadatta, not having done even slight virtues. How is a person's tree to grow? Then, at that time, at that moment, after the 30 million ministers heard this Dharma Pariyaya, they were all established on the 10 grounds. They each gained clairvoyance. The king, too, was established on the 10 grounds and attained a clear realization of virtuous Dharma. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, due to what cause and what condition have the 33 million ministers come to abide on the 10 grounds and gain clairvoyance? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, listen and I will explain. And then at that time, the Blessed One displayed a smile. After that, at that time, from the face of the Blessed One, there shone forth rays of light of many varied colors. 84,000 rays of hundreds of thousands of colors, such as blue, yellow, red, white, crimson, crystal, and silver light rays. They came forth and lit up limitless, boundless world systems. When they returned, they circumambulated the Blessed One 3 times and disappeared into the crown of the head of the Blessed One. At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, arose, placed his upper robe over one shoulder, set his right knee on the ground, bowed with his palms together toward the Blessed One, and said the following to the Blessed One. Blessed One, since Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect and complete Buddhas, do not smile without cause and without conditions, what is the cause of the smile, and what are the conditions? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, do you see groups of beings from all the world systems of the 4 directions coming toward me? He said, Blessed One, I do not see them. The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, in that case, examine carefully and look at the groups of beings. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, looked all about, and he saw that to the east there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled on one side of it. The people did not speak, they did not talk, they did not converse, they did not eat, they did not arise, they did not move about, they sat in silence. To the south there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled by it. These people did not talk and did not speak either. They did not speak at all. They did not converse at all. They did not arise. They did not move about. They sat in silence. To the west, there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled by it. These people did not talk either. They did not speak. They did not speak at all. They did not converse at all. They did not arise. They did not move about. They sat in silence. To the north, there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled by it. These people did not talk either. They did not speak. They did not speak at all. They did not converse at all. They did not arise. They did not move about. They sat in silence. In the downward direction, there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled by it. Those people did not talk either. They did not talk. They did not speak. They did not speak at all. They did not converse at all. They did not arise. They did not move about. They sat in silence. In the upward direction, there appeared a tree measuring some 7,000 yojanas. 25,000 million groups of people were assembled by it. Those people did not talk either. They did not talk. They did not speak. They did not speak at all. They did not converse at all. They did not arise. They did not move about. They sat in silence. Thereupon, the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, "If the Blessed One would grant me the opportunity to pose a question and then have it explained, I would like to ask a question of the Blessed One, the Tathagata, the Arhat, the perfect and complete Buddha, regarding a certain point in question." He said this, and the Blessed One spoke to the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, as follows: "Vaishayasena, ask whatever you wish, and I will delight your mind with an explanation of whatever is asked." He spoke thus, and the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, said the following to the Blessed One: "Blessed One, for what purpose did many groups of people from the worlds in the four directions come and remain here? And then from between the lower and upper directions, 50,000 million groups of beings came and remain here. What is the reason for this? What are the conditions?" The Blessed One said, "Vaishayasena, go yourself and ask the Tathagatas in the world systems from which they came." He said, "Through the production of whose supernatural power should I go?" The Blessed One said, "Produce your own supernatural power and go through that." Then the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, circumambulated the Blessed One 3 times and disappeared right there. After passing 96 million world systems, he arrived at the world system called Chandrapradipa. There, the Blessed One, the Tathagata, the Arhat, the perfect and complete Buddha, Chandravatikshetra, was teaching the Dharma, seated in front and completely surrounded by 80,000 million bodhisattvas. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, remained before the Blessed One. The Tathagata, Chandravatikshetra, with his palms together, he bowed down toward the Blessed One and then said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, why is it that I do not see here presently the groups of people who are presently gathering from the 10 directions and coming into the presence of the Shakyamuni Tathagata in the Saha world system?" The Blessed One said, "Vaishayasena, they wander about and abide right there." He said, "But Blessed One, how is that?" At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being by Shayasena, went up to where the Tathagata, Chandravatik Kshetra, was. Once he had arrived, he sat before that Tathagata. He said the following to the Blessed One: "Blessed One, I passed 96,000 million world systems and have come here, and, Blessed One, nowhere have I seen as many sentient beings as those that are seen there." The Blessed One said, "Those sentient beings arose from mindless trees." He said, "Blessed One, who has seen or heard of arising from trees that have no mind?" The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, have you not seen or heard of the arising of people from mindless trees?" He said, "Blessed One, I have not seen or heard of that." The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, if you wish to see, I will show you now." He said, "Blessed One, I wish to. Sugata, I wish to." Thereupon the Tathagata, Chandravatik Kshetra, extended his arm, and from that arm 100,000 million groups of beings arose. Each of those groups of people extended 100 arms and scattered incense, garlands, and various lotions as offerings to the Tathagata. And the Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, do you see this group of people scattering incense, garlands, and lotions as offerings to the Tathagata?" He said, "Blessed One, I see them. Sugata, I see them." The Blessed One said, "These groups of beings who arose are mindless. These people are mindless." Then each of those 100,000 million human beings had 100 arms, and they all fell down. Then, when the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, had seen that, he said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, what is this? Sugata, what is this, that the people's 100 arms fall down in an instant too? Blessed One, if even the 100-armed ones are not liberated, what need is there to mention those with 2 arms?" The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, similarly, the sentient beings are born mindlessly. They seize mindlessly. By Shayasena, you should know that this body also comes about mindlessly." He said, "Blessed One, regarding these sentient beings, which are young, which are old?" The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, there are young sentient beings, and there are also old sentient beings." He said, "Blessed One, which are young, which are old?" The Blessed One said, "Those who were falling down just now are old. Those who were born from the trees are young." He said, "Blessed One, I wish to see the young sentient beings." At that, the Tathagata Chandravatik Kshetra extended the palm of his right hand, and thereupon there came 100,000 million groups of people from each of the 10 directions. From the lower and upper directions there came 50 million groups of people each. When these groups of people had arrived, they prostrated with their heads at the feet of the Blessed One. After that, they did not speak to the Tathagata. They did not speak at all. They sat in silence. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being, Vaishayasena, said to the Blessed One, Blessed One, why is it that these sentient beings do not speak to the Blessed One, do not speak at all, and remain without speaking? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, do you not understand? The land is mindless, and it does not speak. It does not speak at all, and it does not understand the heap of Dharma either. If you should wonder why that is so, Vaishayasena, some young sentient beings here do not understand birth, although they have seen it. Cessation, aging, sickness, sorrow, weeping, separation from loved ones, coming into contact with what is unpleasant, parting with friends, dying, untimely death. They do not understand any of these unbearable sufferings. Even though they have seen them, they are not moved and revolted by them, so how could they possibly understand them? Vaishayasena, they must be taught again and again. At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said this to the Blessed One. Blessed One, from where have these young sentient beings who do not know the Dharma come? From where did they migrate at death, and where will they be born? The Blessed One said, Vaishayasena, listen. These human bodies that they have received were not made by a jeweler. They were not made by a coppersmith. They were not made by a carpenter. They were not made by a potter. They were not made out of fear of a king. Rather, they arise from the union of a man and a woman, and from the possession of bad karma. Those sentient beings, too, are taught a trade again and again, and because of that, endless, unbearable sufferings and unbearable feelings arise. In that, they experience the ripening of wicked, non-virtuous actions done previously. Vaishayasena, in this place, these sentient beings who have come here and are not rising up will feel these sorts of suffering. Vaishayasena, for this reason, they do not speak. They do not speak at all. Vaishayasena, that being so, these young sentient beings do not understand virtue. They do not understand birth. They do not understand cessation. They will not attain human bodies even, and these, Vaishayasena, are what are called young sentient beings. He said, "Blessed One, how are these young sentient beings born? How do they cease?" The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, it is as follows. To make an analogy, some man might bring a piece of wood into contact with fire. Just as that wood would gradually catch on fire, in the same way, by Shayasena, one is initially born into a human body. After birth, one then experiences sensations." He said, "Blessed One, who is actually born here? After birth, who completely passes beyond?" The Blessed One said, "By Shayasena, the Buddha himself is born. The Tathagata himself completely passes beyond. It is as follows, to make an analogy. The king puts some man in bondage and imprisons him in a dark and gloomy building. After the man enters that gloomy building, once inside that gloomy building, he sees that it is a gloomy building. Then another man who has previously been affected by some experience of suffering sees this and thinks, 'This man is ill-suited for this. Because he has not experienced suffering previously, it will kill him.' Reflecting on this, he took fire and went there and left a slight bit of fire behind in that house. The man who had been put in that jail saw the fire, and when he saw it, he was consoled and cheered up. But that fire, for some reason, flared up, and this blazing fire completely burnt up that house. And the man was also burnt up right there. Then, when the king heard that he had been burnt, he was displeased. He thought, 'From now on, no sentient being will be put in prison in my land.' Thinking in this way, the king then said to the sentient beings dwelling in his land, 'O you sentient beings, have no fear. Do not be afraid. You should not fear. From now on, in my land, there will be no corporal punishment or imprisonment. No sentient being will be deprived of life. O sentient beings, have no fear.' Just as he reassured them, so too, by Shayasena, the Tathagata, who has burnt up all the delusions, has entirely pacified all illness. Just as that man burned his own body too through the burning of the building, and having set out for the sake of sentient beings, aims, benefit, and happiness, he completely liberates sentient beings who are bound from their bondage. Likewise, too, the Tathagata abandoned the stains of attachment, anger, and ignorance, and having arisen in the world like a lamp for all sentient beings, he completely liberates sentient beings from the bodies of hell beings, animals, pretas, and asuras. And And he also completely liberates young sentient beings and all sentient beings. At that, these verses emerged from the space above. The conqueror's field is a wondrous field, a wholesome field, and well prepared. Any seed planted in it will not go to waste at all. The conqueror's field is a pure land. The teachings of the Buddha are praised. In order to embrace all beings, the teacher also makes the means. Though he abides in the sphere of nirvana, he appears upon the face of the earth. After perpetually pacifying the world, Buddha purifies the objects given. He liberates the young beings. He liberates the old ones too. From the three realms gradually, he frees all beings completely. He closes the doors to the hells. He liberates animals and pretas. Having made peace in the world, he creates happiness in the next. Then the Blessed One displayed a smile and said, "It is excellent to see those who are excellent, and seeing Buddhas is excellent. The holy Dharma, a field of qualities, this also is excellent. To see the Sangha assembled is excellent. The teaching of the Sanghata is also excellent. Destroying misdeeds is excellent." At that, the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, bowed down with his palms together toward the Blessed One and said to the Blessed One, "Blessed One, what is the reason for smiling? What are the conditions?" The Blessed One said, "Child of the lineage, do you see these young sentient beings?" He said, "Blessed One, I see them. Sugata, I see them." The Blessed One said, "Vaishayasena, all of them will be established on the 10 grounds on this very day." Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, remains in the sky above at a height of 80,000 yojanas, and 80,000 million devas release a rain of flowers on the Blessed One. The young sentient beings, too, make prostrations with palms joined. Then the Bodhisattva, the great being Vaishayasena, said these words while remaining in the sky above. He fills the galaxy of 1 billion world systems with sound. The sentient beings born in the 32 great hells hear the sound. The 32 types of devas hear that sound. The galaxy of 1 billion world systems also trembled in 6 ways. In the great oceans, 84,000 nagas were also shaken. 30,000 million rakshasas came to this planet. 25,000 million pretas, yakshas, and rakshasas came from the royal city of Adakavati, and this huge assembly gathered before the Blessed One. Then the Blessed One taught the Dharma to the young sentient beings, and 100,000 million bodhisattvas came from the world systems of the 10 directions, each by their own supernatural power.